What if I told you the safest place you were taught to keep your money is actually draining your wealth every year? Not through theft, not through obvious charges, but silently, through a force most people ignore. While your balance creeps up, prices rise faster, your money looks bigger, yet buys less. That's how people stay stuck without realizing it. Saving money is not the same thing as growing money. In today's economy, that misunderstanding can quietly drain thousands, even millions, from your future. Because while your cash sits still, the world keeps getting more expensive. And that gap between safety and growth, it's where fortunes are lost. And no, this isn't about panic or ditching banks completely. It's about understanding a hidden truth they rarely explain. So stick with me, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how this happens and what smart money moves look like instead. By the end of this video, you'll never see your savings account the same way again. Section 1, the silent enemy. Here's the silent enemy almost nobody warns you about. Inflation. Inflation is simply the steady rise in prices of goods and services over time, which quietly erodes the purchasing power of money. Groceries cost more, rent climbs, transportation jumps, school fees increase, everything gets more expensive over time. Now pay close attention to this part, because this is where things turn shocking. Most savings accounts reward you with only 1 to 3% interest per year. Sounds decent until you compare it to inflation, which often runs at 5%, 8%, or even higher. That gap is where your wealth quietly disappears. On paper, your balance might grow a little. You log into your account and see a higher number. It feels like progress. But in the real world, that same money buys fewer groceries, fewer months of rent, and less of everything else you care about. You didn't lose cash, you lost purchasing power. And when that happens year after year, decade after decade, the damage compounds. It's slow, it's invisible, and that's exactly why so many people underestimate it. Inflation doesn't need to empty your account to make you poor. It just needs to outrun your interest rate. And most of the time, it does. Imagine this. You save $10,000. Your bank rewards you with 2% interest. That feels like progress, easy money for doing nothing. But now factor in inflation running at 7%. 1 year later, your account proudly shows $10,200. Looks like growth, right? But when you measure what that money can actually buy in the real world, it's closer to $9,500 in today's terms. Nothing was stolen, no alerts went off, no dramatic crash. Yet you're poor. Not on paper, but in reality. And here's the part most people miss. This isn't a one-time hit. It repeats year after year, quietly, relentlessly. While you think you're moving forward, inflation keeps pulling you backward. That's how wealth disappears, not suddenly, but slowly, every single year. Section 2, why banks love this. Well, here's a part most people never stop to think about. Banks don't store your money in a vault with your name written on it. When you deposit cash, it doesn't just sit there. Banks lend it to other customers, finance businesses, and invest in different assets. And from all of that, they earn returns that are often far higher than the tiny interest they pay you. In other words, your money is working, just not for you. While you receive a few extra dollars at the end of the year, your bank is multiplying that same money behind the scenes. You're collecting the leftovers, while they enjoy the main course. That's not necessarily evil, it's how banking works. But the problem is this, most people don't realize the gap. They think their money is resting, when in reality it's generating value for someone else. And that misunderstanding keeps people stuck, believing a low-interest account is helping them grow wealth over time. So the real issue isn't that banks use your money, it's that you might not be using your money effectively enough. Because in the world of finance, whoever puts capital to work the smartest wins. Section 3, the important twist. Now let me be clear, savings accounts are not useless. In fact, they're incredibly useful. They protect you in emergencies, they cover short-term expenses, and honestly, they give you peace of mind when life throws surprises your way. That's important. But here's the twist most people never talk about. Savings accounts were never designed to make you wealthy. And yet, millions of people park all their money there for decades, waiting, hoping, expecting growth that simply isn't built into that system. That's where the real mistake happens. A savings account is like a seatbelt. It keeps you safe. But you wouldn't expect a seatbelt to drive the car for you. Low risk usually means low reward. So if every dollar you own is sitting in one place earning tiny interest while inflation keeps moving faster, you're not standing still. You're slowly losing purchasing power. Smart money doesn't abandon savings. It uses savings strategically, for stability, for protection, for flexibility, and then it puts the rest of its cash to work elsewhere, in vehicles designed for long-term growth. Because safety keeps you alive, but growth is what builds wealth. Section 4. What the wealthy do differently. Here's something most people never realize. Wealthy people don't let large amounts of money sit still. They don't just park it in one place and hope for the best. They understand a powerful truth. Money that isn't working is slowly being eaten away by inflation. So what do they do differently? They put their cash into assets that have historically grown faster than rising prices. Think about it. Businesses that create products, solve problems, and generate profit. Stocks and index funds that let their money grow alongside the global economy. Real estate that can produce income while appreciating over time. Skills and education that increase earning power for decades. Notice something important. They're not reckless. Wealthy individuals still keep cash on hand for emergencies, opportunities, and peace of mind. But here's the key distinction. Most of their money isn't resting. It's moving. It's compounding. It's being deployed with intention. Cash is their safety net. Investments are their growth engine. And that balance between protection and progress is what separates people who merely save from people who actually build wealth. If you want to change your financial future, the first shift isn't about earning more. It's about learning how to make every dollar serve a purpose. Because when your money starts working, you stop being the only one doing all the work. Here's an uncomfortable truth. Playing it safe for too long is actually risky. Not because the market fluctuates, but because time doesn't stop. Prices rise, currencies weaken, opportunities pass. And if your money is sitting still while the world keeps moving forward, you're quietly falling behind. The real threat isn't volatility, it's stagnation. It's letting fear freeze you while inflation keeps marching ahead. Smart wealth builders don't chase reckless bets. They take calculated risks. They diversify. They think long-term. They let compounding do the heavy lifting. Because in a fast-moving world, doing nothing isn't neutral. It's a decision. And sometimes it's the most expensive one of all. So here's the real question. How much of your money is just sitting still? And how much is actually growing? Because over time, wealth isn't built by where you store cash. It's built by how intentionally you deploy it. Every dollar should have a job. Some protect you, others multiply. And knowing the difference, that's how financial freedom starts. If this shifted your perspective, tap that like button and also subscribe for real conversations about money they never taught in school. Also, to satisfy your curiosity about investing, you're going to love what's next. I've got a full video breaking down the 7 rules of investment, principles every beginner, intermediate, and even seasoned investor must understand. These are the timeless strategies the wealthy quietly follow, but almost never explain in plain language. No hype, no complicated jargon, just clear, practical rules that can change how you think about money forever. Click it now and learn the framework smart investors use to protect their capital, grow their wealth, and stay in the game long term.